And welcome to the Safety Services and Licensing Committee meeting. We do have a quorum, so I would like to get started. Madam Clerk, can you please take the roll?
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Present.
Councilman Riley, Council Vice President Ferry,
Present.
Councilwoman Jermaine. Present. Councilwoman Vargas, Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Council President Paplaskas.
Present.
Thank you. And at this moment, I will call for a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from our last meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine. Yes. Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, and just like to make a note that Councilwoman Vargas is present. And I will start with a business matters carried over. We have a victualling license. This is for Cafe Ava, continued from September 12th. Is there anyone present here from Cafe Ava? Thank you. Please come forward. And I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we're open for discussion. Before I ask the representatives from Cafe Ava to speak, is there anyone present in the audience tonight or on Zoom who would like to speak for or against this application?
No public comment.
Okay, seeing no public comment, I will let you just give your name and address for the record, then take a couple of minutes to tell us about your business. Your name and your address.
Derek Cabrera. Cabrera. 48B Ralph Square. My address or the business address? Yeah, 48B Ralph Square.
And my name is Andrea Moreno.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about your application?
So we are looking to open a Latin Hispanic based cafe in the area. We're hoping to bring a little bit of variety into the Cranston location. We're going to have anywhere from coffee, baked goods, pastries, etc. And it's named after our daughter, Ava.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Councilwoman Vargas?
Thank you. Good evening. Nice seeing you, the both of you here. Andrea, nice seeing you as well. Can you just tell me a little bit about the hours as well as to how that's going to work?
Yeah, so the hours will be, we're gonna start by closing on Mondays, but from Tuesday to Friday, we'll be doing 7 a.m. until 2. And then on the weekends, we'll be doing 8 a.m. till, 7 to 3 during the week and then 8 until 2 on the weekends.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that you're well aware of as well that in the city of Cranston, we have a plastic bag ban. So just to the both of you or any other businesses that are here even this evening to just be well aware of that there's a ban on that. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Councilwoman Jermaine?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And best of luck. Look forward to visiting. And any other questions or comments from the committee? There being none, I'll ask the clerk to please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
And next we have the Diner on Dyer. This is a ratification. Is there anyone here present for Diner on Dyer? Okay, thank you. If you could just come forward. Is there, and I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve? Second.
Open for discussion. Is there anyone present in chambers or online who'd like to speak for or against the voting on this ratification?
No public comment?
Okay. And I'll let you just give us your name and your address and
Yep.
then we'll vote.
It's George Sepulveda and 877 Dyer Ave. SEPULVEDA.
George, want to tell us a little bit about the diner on Dyer?
Yep, so I'm doing breakfast and lunch as PB&J's once when they were there. That's close family to mine. I'm open Wednesday through Sunday, 7 to 3. And it's a mix of Italian and Spanish food.
Excellent. And does anyone have any questions or comments? Yes, Councilman Jonigan?
Thank you, Chairwoman. George, just best of luck again there on Dyer, and look forward to coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, I wish you good luck. Can I ask the clerk, please take the roll?
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now tonight we do have several renewals. We'll take them by category. For the first category, it's a Class A liquor license renewals. I'll ask if there's any public comment on any of these renewal applications. In person, I see none. Any on Zoom?
No public comment?
Okay, and I would entertain a motion I would like to remove Wine and Liquor Company, DBA Christie's Liquor, from this lease. And then I would entertain a motion to take these Class A licenses as a block.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, and yes.
You said you will move the wine and liquor company DBA, is it Christie Liquor? Can we know why?
Yeah, then the solicitor is going to speak to that but after we vote on this. Just get these out of the way.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the block.
I'll make a motion to approve the block minus the wine and liquor company, DBA Christie's Liquor.
Second.
Any conversation, questions? No? Okay, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, and if the solicitor could please address why we are moving wine and liquor.
Yes, Madam Chair. So this particular establishment, this committee has on a yearly basis renewed their license, and most recently, this was done last year at this time. Between then and now, an objection was made by some other businesses in the city with regard to that renewal. The appeal went to DBR, and it is now currently, the second stage of the appeal is now in Superior Court. So that renewal is currently being challenged in the Superior Court. We're awaiting a decision by a Superior Court judge. We just had a conference last week on this. It's assigned to Judge Landfair, and he's going to decide whether or not the renewal was validly made last year. So what I suggest to the committee is that the committee vote to approve the renewal of the license, but subject to any judgment from the Superior Court. So it will be renewed conditionally. If the Superior Court, for whatever reason, rules that the renewal was invalid, then it becomes invalid. If it stays, if it's upheld, then we have renewed it now, and it's good till next year when it needs to be renewed again. So it would be subject to the Superior Court action.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve wine and liquors renewal, subject to approval in Superior Court.
Second. I make a motion. Second.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? There being none, clerk, please, oh wait, Councilman Donegan?
If Superior Court were to say that the renewal is not valid, how would that impact? So because the renewal that's being challenged is last year's vote, right? So if that is invalidated by Superior Court, how would that impact tonight's vote?
Well, if the Superior Court rules that the renewal from last year is invalid, then it becomes invalid regardless of what the committee did tonight. The reason I'm asking for conditional approval is because if the committee doesn't approve it tonight and the Superior Court upholds it, that leaves them in the lurch, because the only thing the Superior Court is ruling on is the validity of last year's renewal. If we don't renew it tonight, then they're not going to be able to operate without coming back to this committee and asking. There'll be a lapse in their license. That's why I'm asking that it be subject to that.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Jermaine?
Thank you, Chairman. I don't know if it's relevant. Do we have anything to do as a city in this litigation?
I am representing the city, the committee I've represented the city in Department of Business Regulation as well as the Superior Court. And wine and liquor, they have their own private attorney that is representing them. Mr. Murray represented them in DBR, and there's another attorney, Lauren Jones, represents them in the Superior Court. I am representing the committee.
Do we need an executive order to go to the detail of what happened? Because if we did something wrong and we cannot repeat it, we know what we did wrong.
It would be appropriate to do it in executive session, yes,
Okay.
if you have questions.
Yes. Chairman, can we put this in for an executive session? We can go over that for next month?
Would that be appropriate? Okay, clerk, if you could please add that an executive session to discuss the wine and liquor situation to next month's safety services, please. Okay, does anyone else have any questions or comments from the committee? Okay, do we have to vote to the conditional judgment? Okay, clerk, can you please take the roll?
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have a Class AS liquor license renewal for Tallies. Is there anyone present in chambers or online who'd like to speak for or against this renewal?
No public comment?
Okay, seeing no public comment, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion from the committee? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes?
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, we have several Class BV liquor license renewals going all the way down the next page. I would like to remove Tommy's Pizza 2 from this block, and then I would entertain a motion to take the rest of the Class BV liquor license renewals as a block without Tommy's Pizza.
Motion to take it as a block without Tommy's Pizza.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
Yes.
And then I would entertain a motion to approve the block.
Woman,
Yes.
do we have the same situation with Thomas Pizza here?
No, Councilwoman Paplaskas, go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna vote on Tommy's Pizza separate twice tonight because I work there and deliver pizza at night. So I can't vote on it.
Okay,
Entertain a motion to approve the Class BV liquor license as a block.
motion to approve.
Second.
And this blocks without Tommy's Pizza.
Without Tommy's Pizza.
Motion to approve as a block without Thomas Pizza.
Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
Yes.
And then I'd entertain a motion to approve the block.
Motion to approve the block.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Paplaskas has recused himself and left the room, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the renewal for the Class BV liquor license for Tommy's Pizza 2, DBA Tommy's Fine Italian Food.
So
Motion to
moved.
approve. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have a series of Class BVL liquor license renewals. And I will entertain, well, is there anyone here from the public in person or online who'd like to comment on these renewals?
No public comment.
Okay, then there is none in chambers, so entertain a motion to approve these as a block.
Motion to approve as a block.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
And now I will entertain a motion to approve the block.
Motion to approve the block.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas? Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
Okay, next we have a series of Class G liquor license renewals. Is there anyone here from the public to speak for or against any of these application renewals? I see none in chambers.
No public comment.
Okay, no public comment online. I'll entertain a motion to approve these as a block.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Chair, which section are we on?
Class G liquor license renewals.
Thank you.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll to approve these as a block.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas? Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
And I will entertain a motion to approve said block.
Motion to approve the block.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas? Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
Okay, thank you. Next, we have a 19-hour BV alcohol license. This is for RI Aviation Hall of Fame for November 19th, 2022, 5 to 10 p.m. Is there anyone here representing the RI Aviation Hall of Fame? Yeah, all right. And is there anyone in the public in chambers or online who would like to comment on this application?
No public comment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Okay, open for discussion. If you could give us your name and address for the record, then let us know about your application.
My name is Frank Lennon, Lennon. I live at 37 Cathedral Avenue in Providence, 02908. I'm the president of Rhode Island Aviation Hall of Fame, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. It has been running an annual honors event and dinner since 2003. And since that time, we've honored more than 150 Rhode Islanders who have made a contribution in the field of aviation. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, we lost our caterer who went out of business. And the new caterer we have is not, able to provide a liquor license. So for this evening at the Scottish Rite Center on Broad Street, we're applying for this license to be able to serve liquor at our dinner.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Okay, there being none, I'll ask the clerk to please take the roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
yes.
Councilwoman Vargas? Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Good luck with your
Thank
event. Okay, next we have a victualling license. This is for Boba Lava Tea and Snack Bar. Is there anyone present? Okay, and is there anyone here in chambers or online who'd like to speak for or against this application from the public?
No public comment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
And to approve,
Second.
Open for discussion. If you could give us your name and address for the record, tell us a little bit about your application, that'd be great.
Sure. Start off with my name. My name is Sut Key, spelled Soeuth. Last name is KY. So we're planning to open a boba tea and mochi donut cafe down the street at 1375 Park Ave. Hours of operation is looking Monday through Friday, from 12 to 8, and on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at about 10 to 8.
Okay. Is there any questions from the committee about this application? Councilman Donegan?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Not a question, just want to wish you the best of luck. Anything we can be in assistance of, you can always reach out, but best of luck at that location and wish you
Thanks
all
for
the
sure.
success.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Councilwoman Jermaine?
just welcome and best of luck.
Thanks.
Okay, excellent. If there's no further questions or comments, then I will ask the clerk to please take a roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes,
Councilwoman Vargas?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And next we have a victualling license for Oriental Taste RI Inc. Is there anyone present? Thank you. Is there anyone in chambers to speak for or against this application? Anyone online?
No public comment.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
To approve.
second,
Okay, we're open for discussion. If you could just give us your name and your address to the record.
Juan Lee.
The address is 2244 Plainfield Pike, Princeton, Rhode Island, zip code 0219. Can I just spell for you? The first name is Guanglin. The last name is Yan. Could you tell us a little bit about Oriental Taste RI?
We close every Tuesday, and weekday we open from 11 to 9, and weekend it's 11 to 10.
Okay,
Oh, no, I'm helping him. So sorry. Oh, sure, sure. My name is Billing Lee. My first name is Bilin, last name is Li. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions or comments from the committee? There being none, I'll ask the clerk to please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes?
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You're all set.
Welcome.
Okay, we have several more license renewals down the line of the agenda. So I would ask for a motion to take the docket out of order so we could move those up and get them out of the way before we go to some things that are a little bit different than a license renewal.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, so we will go down to item number 7, license renewals before the committee. First, we have a 19-hour alcohol license for St. Mary's School for 12/3/22, 6 to 9 p.m. Is there anyone who would like to speak for or against this application in chambers? Anyone online?
No public comment?
Okay, then I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes?
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Okay, next we have an extended hours license. This is for 7-Eleven 33614G. Is there anyone here from the public to speak for or against this application? I see none in chambers. Any online?
No public comment?
And then I will entertain a motion.
To approve.
Second?
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Okay, and next we have a private detective license. This is for Thomas Giorgio, number 324. Is there anyone from the public who needs to speak for or against this application in chambers or online?
No public comment?
Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
To approve?
Any discussion?
Through the chairwoman to the major, just this person in good standing, any concerns?
Captain Carnival? Okay. Is there any comments or questions? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay,
Through the chair,
yes, attorney.
I'm assuming it's going to be the committee's desire to consider all of these renewals as a block. And if I may, the first category of public entertainment license, you'll notice the first name there is 401 Nightlife LLC DBA Pre-Game Lounge. This license, this entertainment license was revoked by this committee. You may recall the show cause hearing we had, I don't know, maybe 4, 5, 6 months ago. So this should be taken out of the block, and I'm going to ask the committee to pull this out and, Madam Clerk, can we place this on next month's calendar? I would like to add this to the executive session that we're going to schedule with regard to wine and liquor, because there are some things I need to raise with the committee, legal matters concerning pregame lounge.
While we're talking about this, Attorney Verdecchia, did the administrative hearing results ever?
Yes, and that's part of what I need to discuss with the committee. It's public record, the DBR decision. What they did was the liquor license aspect of the hearing that we had was heard on appeal by the DBR, who reinstated the liquor license subject to conditions. Then the director, not to make this more complicated than it needs to be, the director slightly modified the ruling of the hearing officer. I really don't want to get into it now. I need a good 15, 20 minutes to explain this to the committee, which is why I'd like to put this down in executive session. There's a few issues we need to discuss.
Okay,
But they are operating, however, they still do not have an entertainment license. I did not want this committee to, accidentally renew this while it's in a revocation status.
okay. Thank you, Attorney Verdecchia. And is Red Lounge currently in good standing? Right, we haven't had any issues, correct? Police or anything? Officer Conovel? Captain? Thank you. Okay, so then I would just entertain a motion to approve the public entertainment licenses as a block, removing pregame lounge from the block.
Motion to approve public entertainment license as a block, except nightlife with game lounge.
Second.
Any further discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Zuli,
Yes?
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Council Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplas.
Yes,
And then I will entertain a motion to approve said block for public entertainment licenses. Again, noting that we removed 401 Nightlife LLC DBA pregame lounge.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Zuli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Council Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplas.
yes,
Okay. Next, we have several victualling licenses. Let's see if we need to remove any. One moment.
Through the chair,
Yes.
please, Madam Chair. Once again, you'll notice that the 401 Nightlife LLC DBA pregame lounge is the second name entered in the list. However, there's not an issue with the victualling license, so the committee can vote and renew that. That simply allows them to serve food in conjunction with the liquor license. So there's no issue. I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the committee in case someone saw it and said, why are we voting on the victualling license when we're pulling out the entertainment license? But the entertainment license, as you know, is a completely separate and distinct issue from the food and liquor license. So the committee is free to include the pregame lounge in the block.
Excellent. Thank you, Attorney. So from this block, all I see that looks necessary to remove is Tommy's Pizza, 2 DBA Tommy's Fine Italian Food. So before I entertain that motion, I'll see if there's anyone from the public that would like to comment on any of these licenses. I see none in person. Any online?
No public comment.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion to approve these license renewals for victualling as a block, just noting to remove Tommy's Pizza.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments from the committee? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes,
Okay, then I will entertain a motion to approve the victualling license block with Tommy's Pizza removed.
Motion to approve, victualling license as a block, remove Tommy's Pizza.
Second.
And any comment from the committee? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine. Councilwoman Vargas. Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Okay, then and Councilman Paplaskas, Council President Paplaskas will recuse himself.
yes, I'll be recusing from this vote. Thank you.
Please note that Council President Paplaskas has left the room, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the victualling license renewal for Tommy's Pizza 2.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments from the committee? There being none, also clerk should please take the roll.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Okay. And that is all set. So we have done all renewals. Council President should come back into the room. Okay, so after we've moved up those renewals, I will ask that we go back to where we were in the agenda. So we were at item 3 before we moved up the rest of the renewals. And that is at the traffic, under traffic engineer, traffic safety. Tonight we have with us traffic engineer Stephen Mulcahy. I asked Mr. Mulcahy to come because there was a discussion at the last council meeting in which it was brought up about the Traffic Safety Commission. And I'd like Mr. Mulcahy just to speak to what his department does regarding traffic safety.
Sure. Regarding traffic safety, as traffic proposals are referred to the ordinance committee, that's when I receive them. In which case, by charter, I am given 60 days to prepare a analysis or staff report. So I undertake that process in using the engineering judgment, looking at the site, looking at traffic data, looking at crash data, and looking at the appropriateness the appropriateness of the proposal. And this is usually related to stop signs or crosswalks or parking restrictions. But based on the principles that are laid out by the Federal Highway Administration under the Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices. So once that report is prepared, I ultimately give a recommendation in the report as to whether to approve or not to approve the proposed traffic ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Mulcahy. And were you the traffic engineer in the past when the Traffic Safety Commission was activated? I think the last meetings took place in about 2015.
Yes, I was.
And what was your relationship with that commission? Did it hold up what you had to do? In my assumption is that it would make a process take longer, as it's a commission making, the power of that commission says it should write reports and make recommendations to the council. I guess then they would write an ordinance that would come to you.
In my tenure, I wasn't even aware that there was a formulation of the commission.
Okay, so you have had no working relationship with that commission at
None.
the time. Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Mulcahy? Council President Paplaskas?
Mr. Mulcahy, welcome.
Thank you.
The 60 days that you get to, are supposed to get to write us a report. Can you speak to how important that is for you to get work done, or 60 days too long and not enough in your opinion? I know some of the stuff you get done in a week or a few days, and doesn't take you the whole 60, but it's be nice to refresh everybody's memory. I remember when this council first came into position, I think I ran into working the last 2 years, I ran into you in the hallway and you said, please wait 60 days. So I just want to get an update on that.
Well, I mean, the charter allows for a 60-day period. I mean, keep in mind, traffic business is not my only function. I work in the Public Works office and take care of many matters, public works related. You know, whether it be sewer issues, stormwater, trash, rats, the whole gamut of what comes through the office. So it's not that my time is dedicated solely to traffic. So a 60-day period historically has been adequate for me to compile whatever information I need to formulate an analysis and provide a report.
Chair, I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Council President.
Through the chair to Director Mulcahy, and this might pivot to the police department. I know sometimes the police department will put a box on a telephone pole and study the average speed of a neighborhood, et cetera. Do you have any work with that, or do you see those results when you might be formulating an ordinance? Do you work with the police department at all on that?
Oh, sure. Many times the police department will forward the data that they've compiled in terms of, traffic counts or speed analysis on a given roadway. So yes, it's quite common.
Okay, thank you very much.
I believe Councilman Donegan had a question as well.
Sure.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Good evening. Sir. How are you?
Good. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for taking time to come in. I guess the question I have is, as I think we were all in agreement last week that speeding and traffic is probably one of the more common frequent issues that we hear about. I know for me, it's that and rats. And the police department is fantastic. I've personally reached out, and I know that if not all council members had the same experience, that whether or excessive traffic or whatever it might be, they are very responsive. They can't be everywhere. And I guess my question, proactive measures can we take as a city to create that are safer, not for vehicles, but those who get around both for recreation and work, on bike, in buses, by foot. How can we that are safer for them? And in doing so, how can we take active approach to creating that kind of environment and infrastructure here in Cranston?
Well, I would guess that's the great challenge for probably just most jurisdictions in the United States and probably other countries too. What's it come down to? It comes down to human behavior, personal responsibility. There's only so much that we can do. One point of contention is that as an example, a proposal comes in for, a stop sign. In the city of Cranston, there's an overuse of stop controls on our residential streets. The problem with overusing a control like that is that it tends to generate a disrespect for the signs. So when a motorist comes through an intersection in a residential area that's wide open, clear visibility, and sees no opposing traffic, and if he doesn't see a need to stop, even though there's a stop sign there, there's that almost invitation to ignore it. So it's the misuse of these traffic controls that tends to be problematic. As for how can you make this street safe? Well, I mean, there's all kinds of suggestions of, things like speed bumps and chicanes, and all of which in theory may be nice, but in practicality, especially in a region like ours, where we have to deal with snow, is one of the big issues. It's not the panacea that one might think. Even in terms of using speed bumps or objects in the road, emergency services are dramatically slowed. So in a situation where minutes or seconds count, those obstacles in the road really don't pan out. The other problem with putting a speed bump in the roadway, so a vehicle comes to the speed bump, slows down enough to traverse it, and then guns the vehicle. So I think in most cases, speed bumps are not effective. The misuse of stop signs for speed control are not effective, because if they were, given the numbers of stop signs we have in the city, we wouldn't have a speeding issue. And just to be clear, it's the stop signs or yield signs should not be used for speed control. And that's very clearly highlighted in the manual for uniform traffic control devices. I think it really comes down to a question of changing behavior. And unfortunately, a sign doesn't change irresponsible behavior.
So, there's a considerable amount of people in the city that don't rely on a vehicle to get to work. Census data shows that, and it's elevated in the area that I represent. Hope Street right now in Providence is implementing temporary bike lanes. Is that something that we can explore doing here in Cranston to make bike infrastructure more readily accessible for folks that do not use a vehicle to get to work or for a primary mode of transportation?
I think given the age of the city, it's an old city. In most cases, or many cases, we don't have the roadway geometry or the appropriate geometry to be able to facilitate dedicated bike lanes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'd have to imagine though that Hope Street is pretty old and they're doing it.
And from I understand in Providence that they're experimenting with a lot of these things. I also understand there's a good amount of pushback in what they're proposing. I don't know all the specifics, so I can't really speak to it, but I mean, it's evident that there's a lot of pushback from businesses and other motorists. So there's got to be some connectivity, when you start including bike lanes or dedicated bike lanes. I mean, in those areas where we can do it, we've done it, Narragansett Boulevard. We've done some, road dieting on Norwood Avenue. That was done. But at some point you run out of a place to connect. So I don't think there's a whole lot of places where bike lanes or dedicated bike lanes can be incorporated.
I guess I'll just end with this, that I think, you know, in a lot of cities, some of the issues we face is development and sprawl and the over dependence and planning. You know, when we do so much of our planning work, it's centered on vehicles and parking and traffic and vehicular traffic. And if planning and economic development and that component, they talk to one another to create cities that are not so dependent on vehicles, which is not only, I think, better for all of our safety, makes it more equitable for transportation, but is also better for the environment. I think, you know, those are long-term systemic changes and approaches that we can take to make our streets safer and make our cities healthier.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the committee? Councilwoman Jermaine?
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I know we are talking about traffic safety this evening, and at the last meeting, Council Ferry mentioned there is a commission about traffic safety. Are you also chair in this commission?
Again, I'm in my tenure as traffic safety manager, I've never known a working commission.
Okay, thank you. In the ward that I represent, speeding is number one of complaint I receive every day. Every day. And I gave the number of police. I said, you can call police, but I know the police cannot be there 24/7. That is not possible. And when I hear you said the solution for you is like there really no solution because speed bump is not an option. You talk about overuse of stop sign. And you mentioned human behavior. In your capacity, what are you doing to really tackle this issue? Because it's real and people are suffering about it. I have to tell you, when my husband and I, when we look for our house, the first thing we were looking for if our 3 boys can play in the street. And this is true for every parent. You want to make sure you stay inside, your kids outside playing safely. And what we witness in our neighborhood nowadays is every street you will call a residential area, people are speeding. They are flying right in my street. I see it. So what do we do? If stop sign doesn't work, speed bump, don't talk about it because we know already what it, because of safety concern or any emergency. So we have to do something. So what do you propose?
Well, I'm not making a proposal right here, but I will just clarify a couple of things. Speeding, like all other laws on the book, it's a law enforcement issue. I have many people that will call the office and they'll talk about speeding on their street. And I know many times that we've gotten data from the police department on a complaint of speeding on the street. And many times that data comes back and shows that the speeding is not at the level at which people perceive it to be. More times than not, and I'll explain this to constituents when they call the office, most speeding is done by people who travel the same route day after day, or people that live in that immediate area. There's sort of this sense of people that live in the area that the rules don't apply to them. You know, that's for everybody else. They can do whatever they want in their neighborhood. So it's always my suggestion when people call with this, I'll listen to what they have to say, and then I will explain to them. Take the time to maybe create a log of who's speeding down your street. Not everybody is speeding down your street. Take the time to create a log, maybe get a coalition of neighbors to do the same, so that you can identify, and everybody's got cameras on their phone. You know, you can snap a picture of a license plate going by. You can note the time of day when this is occurring, and then give the police department a call. Tell them this data, this information you have, which will allow them a target to go after.
Director, I understand what you said. Do you think every resident has this time to really sit down to log and those information? You think that's possible for a parent, some of them single parent that are doing 2-3 jobs to make ends meet? You think they have the time to do that work?
I can't speak to, you know, how they spend their time. I will comment though on something that you did mention, and that's about children playing in the street. Okay.
Yes.
Well, keep in mind the roadways are for vehicle traffic. Okay? They're not playgrounds. So at the same token, obviously, if there's a pedestrian in the roadway, you would expect a motorist to, you know, slow down
So,
when that obstacle is in the
Director, you
roadway.
tell me my kids cannot play in front of my house.
Well, I don't know. I raised 3 children and I never allowed them to play in the street. So, you know, that was my responsibility to watch out for the safety of my children. So is it appropriate for children to be playing in the street? No, I don't think it is. That's for motor vehicle traffic.
Understand. So you have not everybody like you have the opportunity to have their kids or a big backyard there you can play. But a lot of parents, you know, they have in front of their house where the kids can get out, not staying in the computer all the time, or a tablet that have some fresh air outside. And this must be happening for some of those parents. So I agree with you. You may not, you may not have this because you have the opportunity for your children to have a big backyard or a big front yard to play, but not every parent has the luxury to have a big backyard. So we should, as a city, make sure, that's why we call them residential areas. So you can have your kids do biking. That's where you learn to bike. So my kids learn to bike in front of my house and I stand up there to see. But if I move a little bit and I know and the speeding will prevent my kids to do that, that's a problem. So it's not about how you do it because you have the possibility to do it away and to not thinking about other parents who do not have the luxury to do that. So that's why I want to see we have a process to make sure we reduce speeding in the neighborhood because the street right in front of your house should be a place you can get out, your kids can play if you don't have a big backyard.
The system that we have in place is a residential speed limit. And it's a law that says, you know, you can't go over 25 miles an hour. in a residential zone. And the process that we have in place is police enforcement. And as for to get back to your point of, my children, no, I didn't have a big backyard either.
Do you think adding more police is a solution? More police on the street is a solution, and every neighborhood has a
You-
2, 3 patrol there. Is that a solution? Is it feasible?
I think the discussion of, police, time and management is, beyond the scope of, what I do. So I think that's, a bigger discussion. Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mulcahy. Just to address what Councilwoman Jermaine had brought up prior, the Cranston Traffic Safety Commission is in our code, and it was activated in 2015 by Councilman Santa Maria, and it said it would have 12 members. 9 are appointed by the council, their residents. 1 member of the administration to be appointed by the mayor, 1 member of the Cranston Police Department appointed by the colonel. The chairperson would be the chairperson of Safety Services, which would be myself if we called this, if we activated this commission. The powers say that the commission has the following powers: to study citywide traffic issues and investigate remedies to alleviate speeding. It can request funds from the administration, and it shall advise the city council and the mayor from time to time by writing reports with recommendations based on its findings. By what you mentioned earlier, as far as use of stop signs and speed bumps, in your professional opinion, would you say that that makeup of that body has the skills or expertise or training to properly make recommendations to this council or administration on speeding mitigation tools?
Well, I don't see where that section speaks to qualifications of the individual members. So I guess if there were just more uninformed members of a commission, then I'm not sure what purpose that would serve. I mean, I give recommendations in a formalized report to the council, provided to the council. And on many occasions, they don't adhere to the recommendation.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what purpose it would serve to have more people. I don't, for a city the size of Cranston, I am sure, and larger jurisdictions, New York City, Boston, where you have much more complex traffic issues, I'm sure a larger body of qualified people on a commission would probably make sense. Most of the time, what we see is repetitive in the city of Cranston. There's not that much diversity in our roadway system, our roadway network, that I can't imagine what a commission would really accomplish. But
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Mulcahy before we move on? No. Okay, thank you so much for coming tonight. We really
you're welcome.
appreciate it.
Chair,
Yes,
would it be possible to have a couple of words?
of course. Go ahead, Director Moretti.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I thank on behalf of the administration, Mr. Mulcahy for coming out tonight. As you know, he does a very diligent job. Anytime he has the recommendations, I think you can sense they're extremely thoughtful, and he's looking for compliance. with national standards and what's best for the city of Cranston. And echoing what he said, I would urge, the administration would urge, deeper consideration when he submits his reports and his recommendations, yay or nay, to some of the proposed ordinances. And I know it's probably a knee-jerk reaction. He mentioned even stop signs, that even speaking with Director Bernardo, that having 4 ways can actually create accidents and create problems because the other side's assuming that, that someone's going to be stopping. That goes on. But so we just really urge, what I'm really pleased about is that he's here. You actually have a live human being that we see. I don't know the last time he appeared before the council, but I think it might be one of his first opportunities in all the years he's been here. So thank you, people, for doing that. As to speeding, certainly we have our law enforcement folks here. Since I've been involved in the last year and 3/4 with the Hopkins administration, traffic safety concerns, particularly speeding, has been called to our attention to various council people, I think every council person. But I believe we do follow up and we don't let them lie. The complaints or the concerns are registered and sent over to the police department, and Captain Cannavale, Major Quirk could expand on that. But I believe we respond on each and every one of them. For those concerns that police feel are credible, they will install a speed diagnostic cameras, if you will, speed gathering cameras. I forgot the exact term. And I'm not, in the year and 3/4, I'm not sure if any results have come back, whereas there's any substantial speeding that's been taking place, and any changes have been warranted, which is a good thing. And I think, and also, so I think there certainly is, and it's a valid observation. It does appear that speeding does occur. But factually, those results of monitoring the speeds don't lie. Councilwoman, we had spoken, I know you expressed the concern about speeding in Ward 2. And I believe I had asked you, what street is your biggest concern that you felt was speeding? I believe you mentioned to be Colonial Avenue. I asked police to do a speed assessment. There is speeding there, but it's only 20, they were speeding, the average speed was about 25.7 miles an hour. It may have been 25.9 miles an hour. So less than 1 mile an hour over the limit on the street that's perceived to be one of the biggest violators, if you will. So just adding to that, we did do that study on one of the streets you were most concerned about, and that was the end result. We'll let police speak to what they need to speak to, but thinking about this, we believe that by instituting, certainly it's your authority to get a traffic safety commission going, but I think that would slow down the responsiveness that the administration would have for the city council in assessing and acting upon your concerns. Because if there's any complaints you have that you're frustrated and don't feel as if the administration's not responding to and working with the police department, please let us know. But to my knowledge, I'm not aware of us tying things up, but if we are, happy to hear about it, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Did you have a question, Councilman Donegan?
Yes, thank you, Chairwoman. How would the convening of the Traffic Safety Commission slow anything down for the administration?
What we would, I assume the commission would be evaluating the complaints, what streets deserve attention, probably to be whatever frequency you're going to be meeting. So we'd be anxious to see what the commission would recommend and funnel to the administration where the areas of concern would be. And going through those channels, which would appear to be the proper channels, those people focusing in on the issues. So we would wait for those. So rather than responding on a day-to-day basis or week-to-week basis, I'm sure we would have to wait and gather that input. That's where we feel. would you mind actually if Captain Cannavale could come forward? I guess he does that. I think he's probably the first person that has a history on the Traffic Safety Commission.
This is also listed under Police Department, so I just like to note that as Captain Carnavale does share his expertise on traffic safety. Thank you.
The meetings used to take place once a month. So you would get information from your constituents. You'd bring them there, they would meet on and discuss it and then do something from there. It was way too time consuming. People should be calling the complaints to us rather than going through it. Like if you had a fire in your house, you wouldn't call a council person, you'd call the fire department. If there's something urgent, you call us. They would call, like I said, in the next month, you would discuss it. The way it happens now is somebody gets a complaint, whether it's constituent affairs, whether it comes right to us, whether it goes to the council. We get it by an email and then we put it out. You can't beat that speed. Why would you wait till the next month if someone's saying like someone's speeding on my street or avoiding the stop sign? We deal with it then, not the next month or the month after. I mean, it was very antiquated system. It just slowed everything down.
Thank you, Captain. I appreciate the historical perspective on that. That this commission was implemented before I was ever involved in the council, so I
Yeah,
was unaware.
it was a long time ago. We've streamlined it so much now that emails just, they happen very quickly.
And like I said earlier, the administration, whenever I've reached out, has been responsive. As typically I go straight to Major Catalano or Major Quirk, and they've been always.
And they instantly send it to me.
I'm sure they do, because honestly, there are days where I send something one night and the next day driving home, coming up off Route 10 and coming up Harmon Avenue, there will be someone on Farragut and Harmon that's there, making sure no one's blowing through that stop sign. So it's appreciated. I would not want, if the commission were to be convened, I would not want all of these complaints going to them and then kind of waiting for a monthly analysis. The way I thought about this commission, and admittedly really didn't know anything about it until got an email from Ann was still the clerk, saying, hey, John, I need you to appoint someone from Ward 3 on the Safety Commission. So the person I appointed, member of our local One Cranston Health Equity Zone, because of their interest in, kind of bike infrastructure, pedestrian safety, things like that. And that's what I thought this commission was going to be. I thought it was going to be an opportunity for like the community for, because each ward member appoints someone, that it would be an opportunity for members of the community to discuss, their experiences with, traffic and speeding and street safety here in Cranston, and thinking about ideas to address that, not necessarily being the ones that decide, hey, where should the detail or patrol focus on, for speeding. That should be left up to the department, the police department, not a commission of residents. So I definitely would not want them making those decisions. I still do think that getting engagement from the community on how they experience street safety in the city, in the different modes in which they might use it, whether it's in their car, on a bike, walking, I think that's beneficial for all of us, but not to make the decisions on, what the police should be doing.
Thank you, Councilman. Council President,
I'll defer to Council Vice President. I already spoke, but I do have a comment.
Council Vice President.
I'll be quick because I don't want this meeting to take any longer than it needs to. I was the one that put that on the agenda last week. And the purpose to put it on the agenda was to raise awareness that we did have a commission. We were all asked to appoint someone to the commission. We were told last April that the commission was going to meet. And when I call on people's doors and they ask me about speeding,
I told them that there is a commission that can give the city council input on these matters. No one was looking for any comments about who's not doing their job or whether the police are responding or not. That's not what the intention of this was. The intention was to see if in fact the commission that we were asked to appoint someone to would have a say in making recommendations to the council. If anybody on this committee feels that this commission should be disbanded, then that should be the process. But I still feel that the commission could offer recommendations to the council and the city, maybe meet 4 times a year, not tell anybody how to do their job, but just to make recommendations as 9 citizens of the city. Because I put someone on that committee, and every time I bump into the guy at Dunkin' Donuts, he says to me, why don't we meet? You put me on a committee that doesn't meet. So why were we asked to do this if in fact everybody felt that the commission shouldn't even exist? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. I actually have a question I assume we're doing the police department item now.
Yes.
Councilman, Captain Carnival. I was gonna say major, but I don't want to give you a promotion in front of the other major. You know, I remember when the commission met, that was my first term in office before I had the gray hairs that are coming in every day now. One of the main things that came out of that, or the only thing, was the CARES Act. I know we had that a little bit prior to when that committee met, but then we talked about the CARES Act. Is that still out there? Do you still have that traffic enforcement every day?
We still have the CARE program, both for traffic and for overnight
That's
parking.
the CARES program.
Yeah.
And then can you just let the council know what the CARES program does?
The CARE program, we direct traffic enforcement to certain areas where we feel that there's a problem. If we're notified about a stop sign, we'll send somebody over there. Besides the CARE program, I'll also send people to an intersection for a stop sign or anything that we can perceive, whether it's speeding or not, while they're working. So not only just a schedule to a CARE program, but if I get information, I'll say, look, have somebody at this stop sign between 4 and 5. That's where we're getting in trouble. So we also have, besides the CARE program, just direct enforcement. Well, I just send somebody to the location. I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to ask if we still that dedicated person that's daily out there doing just traffic.
The CARE
enforcement.
programs will be scheduled by the traffic division itself. But besides that, I'll also direct people to go to places.
Thank you. Chair, I just have one more thing. Today, obviously, I knew we were going to be talking about the Traffic Safety Commission, so I went through the code and I found some other commissions and boards that don't meet or haven't met. So I do think at some point we need to take a look at all of them. You know, there's the Model City Council Committee, the Senior Citizen Council, the Industrial Development Committee, the Insurance Claims and Risk Management Committee, the Homestead Board, Senior Helping Seniors Committee, the Redevelopment Areas Committee, and there's probably 4 or 5 more. So a lot of these are defunct and not needed anymore. So we should probably look through some of the code and see if some of these could go. So that's the last thing I have for this evening on this. I know we're running late. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments? Councilwoman Marino?
Thank you. Council President, I agree, and I've seen myself, there are a lot of commissions that we don't need, like you mentioned, one's an industrial commission, et cetera. But I will, this commission, you specifically asked us to appoint someone in the beginning, so, you know, that's why we all did it, and we thought there was a need. You know, it's unfortunate it took us all this long to now come to light to have to say, hey, we don't need the commission. You know, I do not disagree with the administration and the police department's assessment as to what is needed with respect to whether or not this board would be of assistance. It was created before we were all on council. Well, some of us were on council. But I just want to make sure we're clear. This is a whole different commission compared to the other ones that you mentioned, but thanks.
Can I just follow up on that?
Yes.
Yeah, I know back in the beginning of the term, I certainly did ask for everybody to give names with the expectation of bringing this thing back, but 2 things happened. One, we didn't forward any work to the commission to activate it, to do anything. And the second part was, you know, once you get into the role as council president, you learn a little bit more about what Mr. Mulcahy does, what the traffic division actually does every day at the police department. So I know in the meantime, we're in very good hands, and Mr. Mulcahy, thank you, as well as the police department and the traffic division. So. I
Thank
promise,
you.
that's all I got.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Council President. I think that even in this term, I think we appointed people to a small business advisory board, to a COVID commission that I don't believe ever met. We're still in a state of emergency in this state as far as for COVID. So I do think it's critically important that we cultivate citizen involvement with our, local government and our decisions, but implementing these commissions has to be done purposefully, and for this commission to write reports and study speed with, 9 residents who do not have expertise in doing so. I think we'd have to ask for money from the administration, which we don't have. And unlike something like the Diversity Commission, we do have 2 departments between the administration with Mr. Mulcahy and the police department who do take care of traffic. So I can say that I personally did not call a meeting because I didn't want to have any red tape or to slow down a process. And within the code, it's different than other advisory commissions or groups where it does not say when or how many times a year such committee should meet. So it did not meet for 4 years before I was here. And everything seemed to be getting done. So if someone wants to activate the committee, they can choose to do so. I don't know if we need to take it out of code because one day it might be necessary to have if things go differently. But for now, I think I'm hearing from the police and the administration and everyone else here that it's not necessary to meet for that purpose. And with that, if no one has any other comments, then I will move on. Anyone? Councilwoman Jermaine?
Thank you, Chairman. So I still not having the answer. So I know we listen and we understand that the committee, we don't need the committee, but at the same time, what do we do? So that's the question I would like to have the answer. How we move from there, how we improve the safety in the street, how we improve, how we reduce the speeding that's going on. So I have a resident that called me the other day, and that's why I put an ordinance about that. At the moment I went to meet with this resident and I stand up, it's just the intersection Summer Street and Waldron. I witnessed almost 2 accidents right in my hand. And then he will say, the person said, you see what I'm talking about? You need to stand up right here for a few minutes to see. If we have a police station, a police patrol right there, they will give like 5 or 10 tickets in less than an hour. People doesn't stop. And in this particular intersection, there are 2 stop signs missing because that's where they are almost collided. Yesterday, I received a call. Friday, I received a call. There's a woman that called me and said, I don't have any kids, but my heart, when I see those speeding in the street, it just break my heart. That's what the woman told me, So we have real issue with speeding. So what do we do? Okay, so that's what my question. What do we do? Okay, it's the human behavior, how we tackle the human behavior. Do we have a communication? Do we have something to educate people? What do we do? So we just standing, sit down, it's a human behavior and we don't do anything and we say, and I feel like there is a tendency, we do not have enough fatalities or we do not have enough accidents to take a measure. So we need to, for me, it's proactive. So I cannot sit and wait until we have 3 more, 4, 5 deaths to do something. No, I don't see it that way. So we have to take measure to prevent things happen. So when you have a report, you said, oh, we do not have enough death here. One is enough. So it is preventing. That's why as a government, we need to prevent the bad thing to happen. And we, proactively, not reactive to the things, just anticipate. So that, what do we do?
Captain Carnival, is there anything that you could speak to that about through the CARE program? Is there anything with marketing, promotion of safety that you have through that program?
I didn't understand what you had said. I'm sorry, say it again.
Councilwoman Jermaine is talking about being proactive and how, we can even witness accidents waiting to happen. And I'm just curious if there's any type of,
There's no way to predict an accident. That's why they call it an accident. If somebody knew that they were going to get in an accident, they probably wouldn't leave the house that day. But we study accidents. We study our data to see where accidents happen. We study where speeding is. When I think when Mr. Moretti had mentioned earlier, we put those boxes on the pole, the speed boxes, and we receive the data. People are saying how fast the cars are going, and we'll get an average speed of 26, 27 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone with an extent, with a high speed of like maybe 30. And people are telling us it's 50 miles an hour. People don't stop at stop signs, and Mr. McKaylee put the information out, and he was very accurate. The people that speed are the people that live in that neighborhood. We'll get complaints of a certain stop sign. We'll go over there, we'll monitor the stop sign, or we'll monitor speeding. And we pulled people over, and they'll actually say to us, no, I'm the person that called you and told you about the stop sign. I'm the one that said about the speeding, but you're doing it. And if the rest of you, when you go home, pay attention to how you speed or how you drive, and the closer you are to your house, people drive faster because they're so used to being there that they drive faster. When you're on a road you don't know about, you automatically stop slowing down. So the people that complain about the speeding in that neighborhood, they're the people that are speeding. They're the people that are in accidents. The average accident for the person, you can Google it, is only a certain distance from your home. That's when most accidents happen. Not when you're far away. Most accidents happen within like a mile of your house. Because that's when you drive, because you're used to it. You're not paying attention as much. But as far as predicting, if we could predict accidents, we'd be really good. And then there's no way a committee is going to be able to predict where the accidents are going to occur. We can't do it now. But we do have data that we rely on to put traffic enforcement in certain areas because we get an uptick of accidents or uptick of speeding. That's the best, I'm sorry, that's the best we can do.
I will send an email tonight. Maybe I will send an email tonight to the yes. And I send you a list.
and I was just curious, is there anything through the community outreach department or through CARES funded through the state about like safety education for the public? I think that's part of, as we talk, it's human behavior. Is there any kind of promotions or marketing stuff like that we do through the police department, through community outreach?
No, I don't have too much to do with that, but I know they do a lot of like bike helmets and student driving and stuff like that. They help on.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Captain Carnival, for taking the time to come here tonight. Council President Paplaskas?
I guess I lied. I have one more question for you, Captain. goes along with traffic safety. Do you still do classes, or if anybody has a car seat or a baby seat they need help installed in their car, can I make an appointment and come? to the
Yes, they
station?
make an appointment with the traffic division and they'll install the car seat. They go to a school and they're registered. And there's a certain way they put them in, and they actually use those noodles that used to have in the pools. And that's part of the thing that they put in there.
I
But-
thought I knew how to, many years ago, install a car seat until I went and had the police
Yeah,
install it.
they're certified in it.
Yep.
So if you come, I won't be doing it.
No,
will.
can I request you?
You can have a question, but you have to ask them.
No more kids. Or done. Thanks.
Thank you. And I would just finally, before we close this out, I just want to ask, I see Attorney Angel on the computer. Attorney Angel, are we in compliance as far as this Traffic Safety Commission goes for it not being activated, or how is it that you see this legally? If we're not going to activate it, I would say that I would take the recommendation of Councilwoman Marino did say, we should let people know if we're doing this. So I'm happy to draft a letter for Rose to send to the people who were appointed to say, right now, we are not meeting. If we do need to meet, we will call upon you. Is that something that would be all right?
I think that Mr. Mulcahy made the very eloquent case that the committee, such as it is superfluous, quite frankly. And I think that the police department testimony supports that. I mean, that's it in a nutshell, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. I would just like to add, first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Mulcahy. We've got a great working relationship with his office. Anytime we're looking for input, whether a need for a stop sign, crosswalks and so forth, we'll go ahead and confer with Steve. So we, like I said, great working relationship, and it's definitely it definitely helps us out as at the police department. I just wanted to address, Councilwoman, you may have brought it up before, as far as being at somebody's house and a couple of accidents almost occurred and so forth. That does happen. I'd say that most of the calls that we receive at the police department, people are complaining about speeding and so forth, and we take every complaint. We'll send officers out to every situation that we can. But what it comes down to is we can't have an officer at one spot for 8 hours in their shift. It's pretty obvious that, and we're not downplaying the any situations that come in, but there are calls that warrant the officer to be pulled off a particular street or intersection, and then we have to deal with that. I know some people feel as though it's happening on my street, they're speeding and so forth. We had actually a situation occur on the eastern part of the city a few months ago, and the person who made the complaint was adamant that people were speeding down their street. Accidents have occurred or almost occurred at the intersection. We had our traffic officers do a study on that particular street. May have been up there for about a week, and I believe that one or two cars had exceeded the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. And as far as accidents go, they went back at least 12 years, and there was no accidents at an intersection. I understand how people feel that they may be out there and so forth, but these people aren't experts, and I'm not downplaying what they see and so forth, but the experts are at the police department or Mr. Mulcahy's office. If you ask me, as far as how do we help it, nobody's been on the department as long as I have. I've been out for 36 years. The answer is more police officers. It's still not going to go ahead and put an officer at every complaint for 8-hour shifts and so forth, but it's going to help the situation. So that would be my recommendation. I mean, easier said than done, but more police officers. Do I feel personally that a traffic commission would go ahead and help the speeding and so forth? No, I believe the scenario that we have now, the process we have now is streamlined perfectly. I know years ago, and you folks all know it, you'll get individual complaints, but the way to go ahead and streamline it is, and I know now it takes place that it either comes through constituent affairs or it goes right to the police department. And this way we can get, like Captain Carnival mentioned, we can get the officer or officers out there that much quicker to go ahead and address the problem. We have our traffic division. Those officers are sent for hundreds of hours of training. They go to various schools and so forth, and they're the officers that will go out there and they'll get the data collection boxes and so forth, and they'll come back with the stats, and the numbers don't lie. More times than not, it will show that there's not a problem on those particular streets. If there are, then we will go ahead and we'll make sure that those particular areas are very well enforced, and we'll deal with the speeders accordingly. So, but like I said, and I know everyone here is in agreement. We do the best with what we have, but at the end of the day, if a complaint does come in, we'll put the officer or officers out there, but they can't, unfortunately, they can't be there for 24 hours a day. So, thank you.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Thank you, Major. Do you think if we put some sign, say, please, kids are playing here or drive, like we have some of those streets that fade away right now. Do you think that's something people, they can see, hey, this is the 25 or drive like you live here, something like that? If we can put those in the street.
Ideally, I don't know if that would make a difference. I think if somebody is out there and they're traveling above the speed limit for whatever reason, or they're preoccupied, whether it's looking at their phone or wondering, the next stop they have to make and so forth, I don't know if those signs will make a difference. They could, but I don't know whether or not it would make a difference. I know Captain Carnival had mentioned before, and I personally had experienced it years ago when I was out on a radar post, and it was in the Dean Estates area, and we had numerous complaints that speeders were on a particular street, and the first person I pulled over said, "Oh, I'm the one that called." Then they should have realized that they called, that there was a problem, and take it from there. But most of the people that do go ahead and exceed the speed limit are people that live in the general vicinity. But to get back to your original question, I don't know. It may, maybe it would send a reminder to people. The average person who says, "Oh, geez, I wasn't thinking." Maybe it would send a message to somebody, but to be across the board 100%, I'm not too sure.
Just trying everything we can, as I
Sure,
mentioned.
exactly.
Everything we can to
Right.
make sure, as I mentioned, my kids, a lot of kids in my neighborhood, a lot of parents have their kids. It's a way to get social, to know your neighbors, to play with your neighbors as well,
Right.
I have 3 boys. They play basketball right in the street. They learn roller skate right in front of my street, but I have to stand up here. And when I see the uptick of those speeding, this is break my heart. So if we can do anything possible to reduce it, please, let's do it.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to our traffic representatives from the administration and from the police department for coming tonight. I am personally more than satisfied with the information obtained. Does anyone else from the committee have any questions? Council Vice President Ferry, are you satisfied with the answers you got tonight concerning the traffic safety?
No comment.
Okay, excellent. All right, so we will move on now. Next, we had a show cause scheduled for food and fuel. This was continued from September 12th. And I believe I will let the solicitor speak to this.
Yes, Madam Chair, I spoke with Sergeant Sweeney this afternoon, and she informed me that the subject of the show cause hearing, I think the gentleman is seated in the back. Come up, sir, please. Sir, just state your name for the record, please.
First name is Mia, M-I-A-N. Last name is S-A-L-E-E-M.
Okay. I did speak with Sergeant Sweeney today. My understanding is that there is a municipal court date set for October 28th. And a proposal has been made by Solicitor Orton to resolve that part of the case. And that concerns the violations which have accumulated over the past few months. And my understanding is that there is a proposed fine along with a suspension of the tobacco license. So Sergeant Sweeney and myself were in agreement that the best thing to do at this point would be to ask the committee to continue this to the November meeting so that we can see what transpires out of the municipal court proceeding. And that would be my request.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to continue to next month's committee meeting.
Second.
Any discussion by the committee? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Zuli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Council Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Okay, thank you. So this will be continued to next month. We should see you then, okay? Okay, moving back. Let's see, where are we now? I think we're at the monthly schedules. Just need to approve something looks like for roads. So I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Zuli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Council Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Okay, under miscellaneous, we have a gravel bank license. It's a request for extended hours from PJ Keating. I do know that there are people who had public comment. As someone from PJ Keating present tonight? Yes, all right, thank you. Is there anyone present in chambers who'd like to make public comment on this application or this for extended hours? Is there anyone on Zoom? I know there are people that were going to be on Zoom. If you could ask them to, if you could please raise your hand if you're on Zoom to speak about the extension of hours for PJ Keating's gravel bank license.
Donna?
Hi, Donna. If you could please give us your full name and your address, and then you could have 4 minutes to speak.
Donna Corcoran, 15 Pine Hill Drive in Cranston, 02921.
Okay, go ahead, Donna.
So I've lived here for 26 years. And for all 26 years, we've dealt with multiple owners of the quarry and multiple issues with the quarry. And over the years, I've replaced floors and had cracks in my foundation placed, and I've had my driveway replaced, and I had to replace stairs, and I've just spent thousands of dollars just because of the quarry. And now we have the dust issue where on certain blasts, you'll see a plume of dust which covers our homes. I live close to the buffer of the quarry, so it depends on where they're blasting. The plume of what is, looks like smoke, but it is dust, will come and covers our homes. So requires multiple washing. It's tough to keep the windows open because it will also get into the house. Many over the years, we've tried to get some kind of resolution, and they just haven't been good neighbors. And now they want to extend their hours, and they are already starting earlier than their start time. We can hear the machines start up. My husband leaves for work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and the trucks are already rolling out of the plant at that point. So if they start earlier, they're going to start even earlier than that. And it's a complete disruption, especially if we can hear the machines. We can hear the banging on the machines early in the morning. And I just think they have not cared at all about the neighbors and the neighborhoods around them. And I'm just totally against having them open any longer than they have to be, because I just can't keep up with the damage to my house anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Is there anyone else on Zoom who could please raise your hand if you'd like to speak on the topic of request for extended hours for PJ Keating?
Deb Bracchio.
Go ahead, Deb, if you could just give us your full name and address, and then you have 4 minutes to speak.
Okay, it's actually Deb's husband, Jim. I reside at 14 Pine Hill Drive, which from my backyard, the crusher at PJ Keating is 1,600 feet away from my property. I've lived in Cranston my whole life, residing at my current address since 1997. I've seen PJ Keating, well, which started out as M.A. Gamino, go from there to a $30 billion multi-international company that's publicly traded. We have been able to deal with managers in the past, but it seems like the more we deal with the managers now, when you come to a consensus with the management, PJ Keating changes the manager. I am speaking to you tonight to vote against the extended operation because PJ Keating already opens before 6:30 in the morning. I've witnessed many of trucks being lined up in the Cranston Ice Rinks parking lot at 5:30. I have seen them leaving and entering Route 37 at 6:30 in the morning loaded when I am leaving to go to work. I think we need to deal with the dusting problem, which leaves the quarry with the trucks. And PJ Keating thinks that it's okay just to wet down the street and wash the dust down into our catch basins. There is a quarry in Rentham, Massachusetts, which the street runs right through the center of the quarry, and their street is not as dirty as what Phoenix Avenue is. I am also concerned about the dust that leaves their property through Mother Nature. Okay, cannot keep our windows open because the windowsills are covered with the gray stone dust. If you remember, Turn to 10 did a segment on this and found out that this quarry dust that's leaving there does have silica dust in it, and I'm afraid of the health of my family. So again, I ask you people to think about the citizens of Cranston instead of big business. I am not a NIMBY that is not in my backyard, but I think we've been asking for some concessions with the business to handle some of the dust. And before an extended permit is handled, I think they should handle the problems that they have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there further comment online? Please raise your hand.
No public comment.
Okay, to a solicitor, for anything that was emailed, does that need to be read into the record or just asked to be placed on the record?
How many emails?
I have 2 that came to myself and the clerk.
Then I would make a motion to include those emails as part of the record. You could read them in, or if you have hard copies, make them part of the record. Either way, if they're not long, you could read them into the record.
Okay, I would, I guess I'll read them into the record just so that I don't have copies. I only printed my own copies. I can ask that the clerk send it to everyone. But I would just read it into the record then quickly. Councilwoman Nicole Renzulli, we are writing to you to express our deep concerns about PJ Keating Company, specifically the blasting and resulting environmental issues. Our names are Tammy and Michael Leonardo. We live at 33 Oak Ridge Drive. We purchased our home back in September 1998. Woods separate our backyard from PJ Keating's property. Originally, we were aware of the occasional blasting, but it was not overly loud and disruptive. Moving forward, conditions began to change. The blasting now sounds and feels like an explosion. Our house vibrates, and sometimes the vibration is so strong, things have fallen off of shelves. Our prior golden retriever was completely traumatized by the blasting. He would hide in the basement laundry room, shaking beyond consoling. Now we have a one-year-old golden retriever. He too is already terrorized by the blasting. He cries and shakes. Our dogs are our family, so watching the reaction, knowing there is absolutely nothing we can do to fix it is heartbreaking and frustrating. I ask the PJ Keating executives that have pets of any kind, would you want this for your pets? And then there are the structural damages to our home resulting from the blasting vibration. There are significant cracks in our foundation, garage, and ceilings. We have sinkholes adjacent to our property, which has caused the deck to settle towards our pool. We strongly believe this is a result of the blasting vibration. Contracts for repairs will soon be needed. After consulting an attorney for guidance, we were told that no doubt our concerns are substantiated. However, our wallet is not. We would never be able to afford a lawsuit against this corporation. Again, I asked PJ Keating executives how they would feel knowing circumstances that can and should be controlled, but are not, are destroying your personal property and ultimately causing it to depreciate. Then there are the environmental concerns. Depending on the wind direction determines the amount of dust covering the back of our home and our deck furniture, on cars, in the driveway, and our pool if it is open. 2 of our bedrooms are in the back of the house. If the wind is blowing in that direction and our windows are open, the rooms with open windows also become full of dust. On one occasion, the dust was so thick, it literally looked like it snowed in our yard, on the back of our house, and all over our cars. Our bed even had a coating because the windows were open. That day, Michael contacted PJ Keating out of pure frustration because he was furious. They offered to come and clean it for us. Are they going to come and clean every time, or just when someone calls because they've reached their limit? And not only is the dust an annoyance, it's a huge health concern. 10 neighbors in less than half a mile radius have been diagnosed with cancer, including Michael. In fact, our golden retriever died of cancer. This just brings the entire issue to a whole other level of concern. So much so that we are now faced with the agonizing question, do we leave our home and neighborhood that we love for the sake of our house, or do we stay and worry when and if it will affect us again? Now, I ask the PJ Keating executives, how would you feel if you and your loved ones are subjected to this? We as a community are no challenge for such a huge corporation, but it's my hope that the who's who in PJ Keating will consider and think about the questions I have asked and remember that their corporate actions have negative repercussions to many families like them in the town. Someday it could be them. Thank you for your concern. Tammy and Michael Leonardo. And the next email to add to the record, please. To who this may concern, I have some concerns regarding PJ Keating's request to increase their hours of operation. I live close to this business, and over the past 6 months, I've noticed an increase in the amount of dust and dirt emitted from PJ Keating. The increased dust and dirt that is created by PJ Keating is affecting the air quality and breathing for Cranston residents who live in the area surrounding this business. I'm a runner, and every time I run down Phoenix Ave, I start coughing and my eyes burn due to the amount of dust and dirt in the air. If PJ Keating is allowed a 2-hour increase to their hours of operation, this will only make this issue worse. Cranston High School West and Western Hills Middle School are located about 1 mile down the road from PJ Keating, and some of the children who walk to school are impacted by the increased dust in the air. If PJ Keating is allowed to open at 6:30 a.m. as opposed to 7, this will create more traffic on Phoenix Ave, which is already busy with parents and buses dropping off children to school, in addition to people commuting to work. This will add to the congestion getting on and off Route 37 as well. One major issue I have concerns about is the numerous concrete trucks coming out of PJ Keating that are constantly spilling wet concrete all over the roads and sidewalks of Phoenix Ave and Natick Ave. Not only does this damage our roads at the taxpayers' expense, but also will do serious damage to any cars that drive through it. I've witnessed this happening on numerous occasions. If PJ Keating is allowed to increase their hours of operation, that is just going to increase the amount of damage being done to our roads and sidewalks in Cranston, which is money out of taxpayers' pockets. Does PJ Keating have a plan to keep their concrete customers from damaging the roads as they leave the plant with a truck full of wet concrete. Before PJ Keating is considered for a 2-hour increase in their hours of operation, I would like to see the following things happen. 1, a reduction in the amount of dirt and dust emitted from the plant, and for the business to promptly clean any dirt from the road and sidewalks surrounding their business. 2, a plan to stop their customers from carelessly dumping wet concrete on the roads and sidewalks of Cranston when leaving their business. 3, less incidents of spilled concrete on the roads and sidewalks, and if there is a spill for it, to be cleaned up immediately. The residents of Cranston care about their city, and we want businesses that reside here to show respect for our city and its residents. We do not want businesses here that are polluting our air and damaging our roads and sidewalks that are costing taxpayer dollars to upkeep and repair. Regards, Lauren Ruggieri, 47 Natick Ave, Cranston, Rhode Island. And there's also attachments of photos that I will submit to the record. If there's no further public comment online or in person, then I would entertain a motion so we can have discussion. He's from PJ Keating. So it's not really public comment, right? So we need to entertain a motion.
Motion to deny.
Second.
Okay, for discussion. I'd ask the representative from PJ Keating, just identify yourself and your address, and then tell us about your application, maybe reply to some of the comments you just heard.
My name is Derek Hill, DERRICKHILL. I am the president of PJ Keating. Relative to our application for a temporary extension of operating hours, we are currently providing the aggregates to D'Ambra Construction Company. They've been a company in Rhode Island since 1971. And they are paving the fast track project that has been publicized by Governor Dan McKee and the RIDOT. There was a press release on September 7th as I-295 was listed as one of the poster children for potholes and rough surface. So they have, it's a multi-year contract, and they have fast tracked this job, which has put quite a bit of demand on the aggregates that we are producing for the project. So our request is a temporary increase on the production side of our business, not a change in operating hours over the scale and out the door. As to the comments outside of what we're here to talk about tonight, I'd be happy to sit down and listen to the individuals that issued these complaints and understand what's going on. I mean, we certainly want to be very proactive to the neighborhoods around us. Relative to dust, we currently have a sweeper, contracted sweeper, and a water truck that we apply daily. They are on site, and we are constantly using water for dust control and looking at other wind erosion control techniques. And we are using a back sweeper, and we can also provide seismic data for those individuals of butters of the property. Would be happy to provide a seismograph on the property during the days of the blast. We can't do everybody at the same time, but we can certainly go into those neighborhoods and show and provide the data off of those off the seismographs. So I would ask that they reach out. They can. My name is on our website, and they can reach out to me personally or to our facility manager right at the Cranston facility.
Okay, are there any questions from the committee? Council President.
Do you post your seismic readings online or anywhere where anybody from the public can see them?
We have not posted our readings out there, but that we could entertain that as an option, certainly.
Who regulates the blasting, or who gets copies of it? Is it still the Rhode Island State Fire Marshal?
Correct.
Okay, so they get a copy of every single blasting in real time?
That's correct. And we have a call list, so we do call out in advance of a shot.
Now, in the past, when we've had issues with the blasting and you guys have graciously come into the committee to speak, I've been on the council 8 years. I remember in the past, somebody had made a comment that they blast on clear days because sometimes it's not the seismic activity, it's the shock wave. And if there's cloud cover, there's nowhere for the shock wave to dissipate. Is that true, or did I misunderstand that?
No, that's true. Sometimes we do get because weather, we try to do the best to make that happen, but if we have started to load the holes and, a weather system comes in, we do have to be concerned about the public safety, and sometimes that can happen, with thunderstorms or something like that. So we need to make sure that we try to use weather and understand what are the best conditions to blast in, but we sometimes get it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I brought that up is September 22nd, you guys blasted. That was the day where we had forecasted 12 inches of rain, 10 inches of rain. The day before it was raining and the next day it rained too. And you blasted out. Did you blast on Thursday, September 22nd?
I'd have to go to the record. We'll certainly come back to you with an answer on that, sir.
Okay, because I live a mile from where your facility is, and I'll tell you this, my tiles on my floors are cracked. I believe every email and everybody that called here. I believe them because I had a home inspection done on my house, and now I have tiles in my kitchen that are all cracked. They weren't cracked when we moved in. So I don't know if you guys are blasting more, you're blasting bigger. I don't know what it is. I know we're here to talk about the hours of operation, but when the neighbors say you're being a nuisance, I mean, you should see that. When if I'm home at 2, I hate being home on a Thursday because I don't want to hear it. My house is 100 years old and shakes like there's an earthquake. I can show you a video, from my basement because I have cameras in the basement and the attic, and you got to see the stuff coming off the rafters because it shakes the whole house. And I'm not as close to you as some of the people that called in or emailed today. And I was floored that you blasted on Thursday, the 22nd, because of the testimony you've given this council prior, saying you don't do it when there's heavy cloud cover or when there's, it was pouring buckets. I couldn't believe you blasted. So I'd like you to check on that. If you didn't blast, then, I don't know what happened. But it was the normal, starts to rumble, gets bigger, but it was like nothing I've ever heard or felt before. So I'm really glad you came in today.
We will follow up on that one.
Yeah, so
And all the other comments, if someone wants to reach out to us,
and then let's
Sir.
talk about the road. We heard a lot about the road. Cleaned my car Saturday morning, spotless, waxed it, went up to Phoenix Avenue, took a left, went down Phoenix Avenue to go get on the highway. It was like I went through off-roading because you guys had just come through with the wash for the road on a Saturday at 11 o'clock. So everybody that was driving on that road, car got wet cement or byproduct or mud or whatever you would, whatever you are wetting the road to keep from blowing around, got all over my car and everybody else's car. Turn around, go home, wash the car again, go. So I can't drive that way now because the car's gonna get ruined. So that's what the neighbors are dealing with. And that's why I made a motion to deny tonight, because I believe every single thing that was said tonight, because we live with it. So right now you want to increase your hours from 7 a.m. you work 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you want to increase it from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Is that so you can manufacture more material?
that's correct.
Okay, I'm gonna be voting yes on the motion to deny tonight. Try to figure out your schedule, try to do something to get it in with the normal hours. Our ordinance on the books is 7 a.m. with idling trucks. We heard about idling trucks earlier than that. I hope you're not working before 7, but I'm gonna be voting to keep your hours what they are. And that blasting's gotta get figured out. Director Moretti, I know the state fire marshal regulates it, but if you can have the city look into it, see what's going on, see if the numbers, and look at that date, Thursday, the 22nd of September, because that was the worst one probably in a couple of months. And they're all bad. This one was worse. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes, well, PJ Keating is in my ward and I've received several complaints about exactly what you're talking. I echo the words for Council President. People know that I revolve my life on one word, respect. And I don't think you'd be respectful to the neighbors. For that reason, I will be joining Council President in denying this.
Are there any other questions or comments from the committee? Councilwoman Marino?
Thank you. I echo the sentiments of Council President Poplawskis and Councilman Campiano. I have a few things that are important to mention. To the point of the dust, it is unprecedented. I have lived in the city for nearly 25 years. For 21 of that has been in the western side. Exactly to Council President's point, myself, and I know others, do not want to drive down Phoenix Avenue anymore because you will get the gray cast of dust stuck on your car. People will go other routes like Oak Lawn Avenue. To the other point of residents in both Wards 4 and in Ward 5 are impacted by this. I've spoken to residents who have lived in this area for 25 years and they have door jambs that are no longer lined up. And it's from the blasting, according to them. And I believe them. People who have cracks, people who have taken me into their homes to show me. And, you know, they understand it's a quarry of a business to do, but the activity has increased, to Council President's point, whether you're going deeper, whatever the difference is. And on top of that, the hours of operation are of concern. While I'm not a member of this specific committee, I would ask that the members give deference to what others on this council have said and what the people have said this evening. My husband, in fact, has photographs of your trucks going into your facility at 6:14 and 6:15 a.m. Okay, so Lord help us if it gets approved where you're seeking to have operations even earlier. So you really need to abide by and respect, to use Councilman Campopiano's words, the rules and operate your business in that order and be a good neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I would ask, more than one person has told me that you're already operating before 6:30 in the morning when you're supposed to be operating at 7. And to Councilwoman Marino's point, if her husband has photos of operations at 6:14 and 6:15 in the morning, I am wondering why you're coming before us now asking for an earlier time if you're already operating them. Would you deny that that's happening, or I'm just curious?
I'm not going to deny that it's happening. I would like to clarify. I think there's a difference between the customers that could be coming in to pick up aggregates. They get up early in the morning, they park across the street, the ice arena, or they come in. But we are not loading and putting trucks out the scale. We'd be happy to share our point of sale information and relative to tickets and first loads going out, and we'll double back on that. One thing I would like to mention is the ready mix operation is owned by Cullion. It is a sublessee to the property, and we will follow up on with personally with Mark Cullion about the spillage that's coming out of the ready mix trucks. And we'll double back on the water. We use water from the quarry, but we also have we've also been using water from the town relative to a metered account. So we can look and make sure that what we're putting out when we're dealing with road is the clean water.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you, not denying that operations are starting earlier, whether or not you're actually loading the trucks or not. They're there, they're running, people are hearing them. I think part of that ordinance is because of the sound. And I would just say that it doesn't behoove me to vote for you to extend your hours when you're already on, breaking a rule. We could call you in for a show cause concerning these problems and these complaints. I would point to a solicitor to please tell me if that would be appropriate in their opinion.
That's always in the discretion of the committee. I think it's been discussed before, and I believe that I had indicated that it would be a matter of producing, sufficient evidence. I know that there were complaints. I don't know all of the details of the complaints. And by that, I mean who made the observations, when were they made, is there photographic evidence, is there video evidence, is there audio evidence, so on and so forth. So it's certainly, it's always within the purview and the discretion of the committee to hold show cause hearings at the committee's discretion. I would just caution that we would need a sufficient evidentiary basis to take any action. That's all.
Thank you, Solicitor. So obviously we want you to be able to operate good business, but we want you to be a good neighbor. You have to supply, you know, to the state who's trying to finish a project. I don't want to impede on you doing that, but until, you know, you can prove that you're operating within the guidelines that you have now, I can't, I would support the members of the council who have asked to deny the extension of your hours right now.
Yeah, and just to clarify again, you know, the request for a temporary increase, temporary is the key word. And also the request for increase was around the manufacturing of the aggregates, not on extending the hours of operation for the scales, right? Which was the truck traffic outbound or inbound. So we were not looking for an extension there. Our specific request was towards the operating of the processing plant. And it was only a temporary request to get us through this this fast track job that did not really come up on anybody's radar from a planning standpoint until it was advertised late in July, and it started on September 7th. But
Great, thank you.
the comments are clear and understood.
Is there anyone else from your organization? I see there's more people, so I don't know if anyone else needs to speak.
My name's Carl Turgeon. I'm the quarry manager. Turgeon. The hours of operation at PJ Keening is attached to the operating of the plant itself, not the quarry, the physical plant that actually does the crushing. Those hours are from 7 to 5. Those are the hours that we are looking to get extended. The truck traffic have no hours that I am aware of. Cully and Concrete runs, they're doing the Amazon job. Johnston, those trucks are out of there at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's all I have to say. Unless you have any questions.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Councilwoman Jermaine?
Thank you, Chairman. As I listen to the complaint of the resident living in this area, and I see an issue with quality of life for them. And I understand your request for a temporary, when you say temporary, 2 months, 1 month, how long a temporary?
The request was through up to November 30th, but we are, you know, the aggregates in the construction industry is really temperature dependent. So, but that was the request to go out till November 30th.
In that particular frame time is like for blasting, or what is it exactly?
It would be for the processing of the aggregates through the plant. So the blasting would occur, the blasting doesn't occur every day. The blasting occurs on a scheduled cadence. But so the temporary request was for only opening up the operating hours so that we could run the crusher, so we could produce the sized aggregates that are used in ready mix concrete and asphalt pavement for the projects.
When you mentioned because you have a demand to complete a work, is the only reason that you asked for this temporary?
Yes, it's this project. It wasn't really on our radar screen early in the year when we kind of commit to sales and demand. It came up later, and it is a fast track, a highly touted project for Rhode Island Department of Transportation, and it has an interim completion date with some aggressive milestones. So we were looking for a temporary increase to make sure that we had the right amount of 3/8 and 1/2 inch stone on the ground for our customer D'Ambra Construction.
Do you have a stable schedule for the resident? They know exactly when you go into blast, or it just happen whatever and anytime without
No, no.
them knowing, hey, this day is the day where you're gonna have blast?
We announce our blasting schedule. You want to talk about, and we have a call list.
We try to announce the blasting schedule a couple of days ahead of time.
You try or you did?
We try to within our company. And then the day we are gonna blast.
Do the resident know you're gonna blast that day?
Oh, they absolutely know. Yep, they get a.
They have a notification?
They get notification. Anybody that wants to can get on this list. And there's a call that goes out. There's probably 50 people on this list.
So you send the notification to them, you say you're going to blast.
Yep. And we
How
give them
often
a-
you blast?
Probably once a week, maybe once every 8 days, depending on the weather and how
So-
much material we crush.
So if you had to have this temporary increase, how often you think you would blast?
Oh, the blasting wouldn't probably change at all. The problem is we don't have the material on the ground to supply it for this job.
So if you do not, do you have a deadline to submit this project? If you don't respect it, what's gonna happen?
Again, all of our products in the construction industry are very much like farm products in the sense that they're very temperature dependent. So, at a certain temperature, you can't put down a hot mix asphalt. At a certain temperature, it's probably cost prohibitive or quality prohibitive to put down to pour ready mix concrete, although they pour year round in many cases, but they'll put an additive in. So it really becomes down to temperature and the paving, the asphalt paving is much more sensitive to temperature. So at some point, the Rhode Island Department of Transportation, as other DOTs, have temperature restrictions. So I'm not exactly familiar, but I'm thinking with the thickness on 295, they've probably got a 45-degree and rising temperature threshold, and the job is paving at night. So as that temperature drops, they'll be restricted. So there's that deadline coming up against the customer, D'Ambra Construction.
So that's mean if you don't satisfy the demand, that's going to will delay the completion of that work based on temperature?
That's correct. And just to clarify there, on this I-295 project, it's a multi-year project, and there's an interim completion, which is really the section from about the Massachusetts border down. As you can see, all the fresh pavement that's been laid, but it's a temperature sensitive thing. And the contract came out from Rhode Island Department of Transportation to say, you will complete this section of work during the 2022 construction season. And the season, then as you get closer and closer and into November, becomes an issue of temperature because it's a night job.
So if you're not completed this time, it has to wait for another timing when you have the proper temperature to complete it. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to cover what's open. So the contractor has to cover what's open in a mill surface. So the interstate has been milled. So the contractor needs to cover what's open. And so they will need to cover that work this year. What is open. They won't open up anymore, but again, it's a multi-year project. And it was just something that, was put out. It has a lot to do with the Infrastructure Investment Job Act that Washington, everyone passed about a year ago. And this is the first round of funding coming into Rhode Island, and Rhode Island DOT has done a great job through the governor to address and put together a comprehensive plan to improve roads and bridges and infrastructure in the state of Rhode Island.
This is the first time you have this scale of work?
I'm not sure I follow.
Is it the first time you have this scale of this work to complete?
No, I mean, we typically, like I said, this job kind of dropped late season, and we'd made a lot of previous commitments to other infrastructure projects and customers. So this became an above and beyond. We're looking at our throughput of our crusher. But we had some other commitments that put us a little bit behind. And that's why we were requesting a temporary increase to the production hours for the aggregates.
Okay, so, this is a little complicated for me. I understand the point of all the residents and how they express their concern about already the way they've been living with the business in their neighborhood, and I understand the magnitude of this work that has to be done as well. This is a one in a lifetime project we need roads, but at the same time, I think you need also to address, as the council president that I respect a lot, what he mentioned, because he's living what is happening there. So, do you have something in place to really address all the concern of the resident and council President Parausa mentioned earlier? Do you have something in place to really address those issues about the cars when they have to drive? If there's something, so I understand, when you do business, you have your words, you have to keep your word. So I don't feel I would like to make yourself in the situation to not respect your word, as you have to deliver something. But at the same time, we have to respect and make sure the resident be respected, and the way of life, the quality of life are not being a burden for them. So are you able to conciliate those two? So I would be say yes for a amount of time, you said, but at a condition if you have a plan to address those issues.
Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Douglas Vigneault, Vigneau. I'm the Environmental Compliance Manager for PJ Keating for this facility and some others. We have what's called a particulate matter control plan that is reviewed by RIDEM, and we're under RIDEM's watchful eye, so to speak. So that's what we abide by. When there are complaints made through RIDEM, they immediately come to us, and then we have to address them within 24 hours with RIDEM. So we reach out to all the individuals who complain and do our best to, make them satisfied with our response. So we do that with the blasting as well, with dust, and try our best to control.
Do the residents tell you if there is a proper time they would like to see the blasting happen, or do you have a proper time for you as you look for temperature, whatever it is, to have it happen? Because that's the main problem, the dust. And if you're home with your kids, you're sitting in your porch, you don't want to get the dust come to you. So do you have a specific time when it's not going to be really a burden on the resident to blast?
Hi, my name's Rob Robinson. I'm the VP of Aggregates for PJ Keating, Robinson, R-O-B-I-N-S-O-N. Regarding the time, we try and aim between 12 and 2 o'clock when we blast. There are times, however, where we have gone later, because sometimes there are some issues that are unforeseen when we are loading the shot. We are covered by the State Fire Marshal, and we notify the fire department when we're blasting also. And they're on site when we blast, or they come along at certain times. All of the blasts that we have done have been within the state limits. So for vibration, they're inside the state limits, and also for the air blast, which you were referring to earlier on when we had low cloud cover that day, if indeed we did blast that day. But yes, so that's where we are on the blasting, and we monitor that. We have 3 seismographs that we put out, and it's very much a perception issue for individuals. As much as I've been involved in blasting for nearly 40 years in this country and in the UK, and I come across this a lot. It's a perception issue. Are we damaging your house? No, we are not. But at the same time, we have a responsibility to the neighborhood to ensure that we do the best we can with what we have available. And I can assure you that the blasting practices have been greatly improved over the years.
Do you have any more questions, Councilwoman?
I think I have, I'm gonna ask, I know it's a really, sensitive issue, and, as the resident talk about it, the people will live it. And I would ask also, I know Council President is living it. And I know he will understand also, the importance to finish this work for our city, our state, right? Maybe we can find a compromise. That's Council Papaluska.
I would, before I go to Councilman Paplaskas, I want him to be able to have the last word. So are you essentially trying, you just need to be crushing earlier, these extended hours, correct?
Correct.
Is there, is there no, I don't know a ton about quarry, so excuse me if this is an ignorant question. Is there no way to bring in portable crushers to do during normal business hours? Do you have to open early so that people are hearing any sound? Is that a thing or no?
Well, we already have a portable crusher on site at the moment, and we're trying to meet the demand. And as Derek said, this was added on top of our existing workload, sort of in the last month or so. So we are trying to meet that need now. So we're pretty much maxed out. That's why we have come to you to ask for the extra 2 hours for this short period of time.
Okay, so there's absolutely no other way to accomplish what the state needs to finish the project on 295 during this 2022 construction season without adding additional hours. Is that what you're telling me?
We are trying to cover the needs for what we see out there at the moment. And we think that this would certainly alleviate the issues that we're coming up against regarding material availability.
Okay, thank you. Council President, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna follow up with a couple of comments and then I promise it's the last time I'll speak. I know it's really late and we gotta get to Finance Committee. You know, this council over the years has always been pro-business. We always try to be pro-business. You guys sat here tonight for a couple hours and heard all the renewals go through. Some new businesses get their licenses, and that happens every month. We have a lot of businesses coming in here. We're pro-business. But forget the blasting. You know, forget everything else. But the last 7, 8 years I've been on the council, you're the only business that I've gotten repeated complaints from. Oaklawn, Natick, Mechanicat, Stonehill, Westwood, Castleton, Only Arnold, the Pine Hill neighborhood. I mean, it's everywhere. So what you're doing is bothering a lot of people around you. I wish there was a way where you could blast half, maybe use half the amount of charges. You know, maybe if you were using half the amount of charges or doing more for the neighbors, it's just, I just can't believe the amount of complaints that I know I get and other members of the council got. And I just find it hard to believe, you know, my house is 100 years old and I keep going back to my house, but if you have a house that's 100 years old and they get a blast every Thursday, how that isn't cumulative. I just don't know how that doesn't back out a 8D penny nail that was put in 75 years ago or 80 years ago. So that's where I am on that. So I'm voting no tonight because of all of the complaints over all of the years, because of the people that testified tonight, the emails. And I'm sorry you took on a job that's going to make it more difficult for you to get done, but the council didn't take the job on. We have to stick up for the residents. So I'm going to be voting yes on the motion to deny. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Nope. Okay, then I will ask the clerk to please take the roll. This is on a motion to deny the extension of hours.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
No.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Council Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, I think that we only have for informational purposes, two mobile food, a mobile food establishment license that is new, and that's for Sweet Daddy Joe's, and a renewal from farm to sandwich. There's no presentations, and so I will call for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Okay, thank you.
Evening, everyone. I'd like to call the third Finance Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please take a roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Present.
Councilwoman Mazzulli, Councilwoman Marino,
Present.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Council President Paplaskas.
Present.
Okay, I'd like to have a motion to approve the prior meeting minutes.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please take roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
The first item by Councilwoman Vargas, we would like to continue to the next meeting. I just moved it.
Sorry. I know that it was on the council communication. Yes, we are moving that. Thank you. But I do want to say that under my council communication, which I did not add on there, was to actually wish Councilwoman Jessica Marino a happy birthday. Today is her birthday. So let's join me in wishing her a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay, thank you.
And happy birthday to Councilwoman Annie Jermaine.
Happy birthday.
All right, first we have real estate tax abatements. Do I have a motion to approve? All right, do I have a motion to approve all four abatements and waivers as a block?
Well,
Three.
what,
Yes. Well,
let's just make, it's a motion, Chairman, it's just a motion to, consider them all as a block, take the vote, and then the vote to approve them as a block. First, you have to take the vote to,
Can I have a motion to approve the real estate tax abatements?
so moved.
Second.
Rose, please take a vote.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve the motor vehicle tax abatements?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please take a roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Marino.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve the tax interest waivers?
Second.
Madam Clerk, please take a roll.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Marino.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, I knew that was faster than doing it the other way.